In 2011 is when we really got a shocker, and that was a 12.4% increase, almost close to $200,000. It was completely unexpected, and we were very surprised by it. And we did reach out to Nassau County. We tried to understand the reasons behind it. There were lengthy discussions, and there was a lot of time spent to analyze it and understand it. But that was the number, and nothing really could be done about it because, and I'll explain to you the reasons in the next slide how Nassau County operates when we do negotiate with them. So that number jumped up to 2011. And I think that's what really got the process started to look at other options. And we were still hopeful, and we were made to think that that may be, in terms of one of the representatives of Nassau County Police Department at that time, that was a unusual year, and the term used was that this was the perfect storm and everything came together, and it ain't gonna happen again, and you know, some promises like that. To our next surprise, this year we got another 4.3% increase on top of the 12.4% that we got last year. So this is what really triggered us to start the dialogue and look at other options. So we decided to look at other alternatives, and then in February of 2011, when we saw that 12.4% increase, and that made the average of average increase over the 12 years to almost 5.6%. And if you look at that last slide again, you will see that in 12 years it more than doubled from 800 and something thousand to more than $1.6 million. So we reached out to Oyster Bay Cove to explore if they would have interest in providing us patrol services, and we started some preliminary discussions. In March of 2011, we retained the services of Mr. Mike Fleming as a joint consultant to evaluate the possibility of Oyster Bay Cove Police Department providing services to Laurel Hollow. Mr. Fleming is right there in the audience. Mike, you want to raise your hand? Everybody knows where you are. Mr. Fleming is an attorney with 33 years of police experience. He started as a police officer, and then he commanded several units, and also served as then assistant to Nassau County Police Department Commissioner. So he had the credentials, and both villages agreed that he knew the area well enough to do a study, a joint study, to see the possibilities of both villages coming together for police services. In June of 2011, Mr. Fleming submitted his report outlining the benefits to both villages of a shared police force. And that's what really formed the basis for our negotiations with Oyster Bay Cove to come up with the contract. And that's what we have today, and that's what we are currently basically proposing that the contract be adopted. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the proposed contract with Oyster Bay Cove. Our first year cost will be $1.250 million, which is a projected savings in excess of $450,000 for Laurel Hollow. Now I'll also point out that in the study that Mr. Fleming did, and he outlined all the details of our contract, Oyster Bay Cove is also going to have savings of about that number, of about $450,000. The contract amount includes two components. There's a fixed base and a variable component, which includes pension fund contributions, health insurance, overtime, and workman's compensation. The base amount will be subject to a 4% annual increase, and the variable component will be 45% of the budgeted sums of the variable components. I know this is a little confusing, and I can get into a little bit more detail for you later. The variable component will be adjusted in subsequent years, up or down, based upon actual versus budgeted amounts. It will be a 5-year contract with an option to renew for another 5 years. So that's a brief outline of the proposed contract that we have, which, by the way, last week was approved by the Board of Trustees of Oyster Bay Cove. I'm going to share with you a little bit about comparison of services. Now, this is something that our residents often ask us. You know, we are making this change, and how are we going to be affected? I mean, what are the differences between what we have now and what we are going to be getting when we go with Oyster Bay Cove? So, Nassau County, we have a dedicated patrol car that stays in the village. With Oyster Bay Cove Police Department, we're going to have a dedicated car which will patrol the village. Currently, our Nassau County car is backed up by 2nd Precinct. The backup in case of Oyster Bay Cove Police Department will be from the Oyster Bay Cove Police Department car. Both the cars will back each other up. Currently, we have 4 regular officers, and then we have floats that are provided by 2nd Precinct to cover these officers. There will be 13 full-time officers and a chief serving the 2 villages together. Car serving Laurel Hollow is currently stationed in Laurel Hollow Police Booth. Car serving Laurel Hollow will be stationed in Laurel Hollow Police Booth. The current cars carry the Nassau County Police Department markings. The cars will be marked to indicate that they serve Oyster Bay Cove and Laurel Hollow. Laurel Hollow Police Booth is marked with Nassau County logo. The police booths in both villages will be marked to indicate they serve Laurel Hollow and Oyster Bay Cove. For emergency services, we dial 911. For emergency services, we will continue to dial 911 because Oyster Bay Cove is also on the same emergency number. For non-emergency services, we currently call the 2nd Precinct. For non-emergency services, we will call Oyster Bay Cove Police Booth. A sergeant from 2nd Precinct now attends Board of Trustee meetings to address any resident concerns. Oyster Bay Cove Police Department chief, or in his absence, an officer, will attend Board of Trustee meetings to address resident concerns. All traffic tickets and violations are prosecuted in Laurel Hollow Court. All traffic tickets and violations will continue to be prosecuted in Laurel Hollow Court. Headquarters services are currently provided by Nassau County. The headquarters services will continue to be provided by Nassau County. So headquarters services, sometimes we are asked, you know, what those are. That's all the detective squad, any non-patrol services fall in Nassau County headquarters. And we pay a separate tax for that. That's the 2nd tax bill. So that will continue to remain the way it is. I'm going to show a little bit comparison of also the contracts, how the 2 contracts differ between Nassau County Police Department and Oyster Bay Cove Police Department. So the Nassau contract is the amount that we pay is based on assessed values, the total assessed value of the village, all the homes, multiplied by the district rate. The Oyster Bay Cove Police Department contract, it's not tied to any assessed values. Assessed values, as we know, are subject to fluctuations every year. There's some new homes get built, or somebody adds, any additions to the house, or general fluctuations in the real estate market can change the assessed values up and down, and that's what we see every year. And there are times that in our village we may see our assessed value go up, where the rest of the county saw some assessed value go down, and that's this big black box that nobody understands. But at the end of the year, we all get a bill and it shows us what the assessed value is. In case of Oyster Bay Cove Police Department, our base amount, which will be a significant part of the overall contract, is subject to a 4% increase per year. The district rate is set by Nassau County based upon its budget. Again, this is something we have no control over. They set the district rate for the entire county, and that's what we pay on. In case of the contract with Oyster Bay Cove, we pay 45% of the variable components, which are pension fund contributions, healthcare benefits, overtime, and workman's comp, and that's as budgeted by Oyster Bay Cove. In case of Nassau County Police Department, we have no visibility on police costs for future years. In case of Oyster Bay Cove Police Department, we have visibility on the fixed component. We know that's going to go up only 4%. We know it's not going to fluctuate much more than that. And we have shared responsibility for the variable components. In case of Nassau County Police Department, there's no mechanism to negotiate the police contract. It's assessed value times the district rate, and that's it. In case of Oyster Bay Cove Police Department, the contract that we have now on the table, it's a negotiated contract between the two villages. So these are some of the comparisons that outline, again, the services and also what the differences are between the two contracts, between the Oyster Bay Cove Police Department contract and the Nassau County contract.